What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to look at 12 things that we learned from the new Marvel Spider-Man 2 gameplay. It's full of information, and it's not even 4 minutes long. And also, remember, tomorrow being this preview event, I imagine we're going to get further information on some of these features that they mentioned briefly or they showed really quickly. I'm sure we'll circle back and we'll get loads of stuff on that tomorrow, and I'll make another video as soon as we get more stuff. But let's kind of go over some of the things. I know some things are pretty specific. Some things are kind of a little bit more vague that I wanted to kind of just point attention to, and maybe you guys have an idea as to what some of these things are in the comments. So let's go over the first thing. We're going to kind of go in chronological order of this video is the combination of the web wings along with the web swinging. It looks like an absolute blast. It looks like there is a little bit of new web swinging mechanics there, some one arm action that we see kind of from both of them, but also again that chaining ability, right, of being able to gain speed and momentum. It was the first thing they mentioned in it. It looked extremely good, and combined with the power of the PS5 that they kept coming up with and saying right in the video, the amount of times that you're going to be able to jump from point A to point B, and then not only do that in the fast travel way, but then to get to point A to point B in this game with the web wings and web swinging, I feel like is going to be extremely fast. It looked like a lot of fun, at least from what we saw. Second thing is the phone. So quite a lot of things in the phone. They used it, and they kind of briefly mentioned it, but you can also see in the icon, this is where you're going to switch, right? So you'll pull up your phone, and you'll have the activities or the side missions, right? We'll talk about that later on in this video, but at the bottom of that screen, it says, do you want to switch? And you can pick either of them. It has their icons. And now keeping on that, the side missions, side activities, all that stuff, obviously that's going to appear in the phone, and they mention it in the presentation or in the video, but you can also look at it visually. So some of these missions are going to be just one of them. It'll be specific to a Spider-Man. Some of them you can pick either or. So again, they said that, they showed that, but also you can see the icon based off of the mission that you'll be picking. Next up is the visual icons in the game. This one I like quite a bit. So everything's kind of in front of you, right? Instead of going to the map, and they show the map, and we'll talk about the map later, but as you're swinging around, you ping the button. I assume it's probably R3, and you'll be able to see everything that's kind of going on in the city. You'll see the Prowler icon, right? But you see quite a few different icons. Some of them I kind of feel like I know what they are. Like I said, the Prowler one. You see actually the photograph one, so maybe more picture taking in this game. But some of them are things that I can't yet identify, but I do like the idea that everything is kind of right in front of your face as you're swinging in the city. You don't have to go back and forth between map and open world. They make it all a lot easier on you. The next thing is kind of an assumption. I don't know this for sure, but I'll explain later, is drones. I feel like the drones are kind of synced with the fast travel. That's what it looks like to me. There's not that many drone missions throughout the city. You see that later when they're going through the map, and you see all the icons on the left side. I don't know if it's as simple as just completing the drone in the area will unlock fast travel, because it doesn't look like that, but it definitely seems like it's going to play a part. I feel like you're going to have to do the drone mission in that area to unlock fast travel. You might have to do more stuff. You might have to just do that. Next, I want to talk about the things they said out loud, not necessarily what they showed, although this is kind of important, right? So they talk about the side activities, the missions, all that stuff, and it'll lead to rewards, which I imagine will kind of be like special suits, right? Some of the more rare suits, you'll have to almost 100% things, or you will have to 100% things. But then they also talk about that some of these activities, and you can kind of see at least some of them again in the map later, some of these activities are going to end with a battle. And now when they said this, they showed Wraith and they showed Venom. The Venom one, I'm uncertain if they showed it kind of as like a decoy. I would be shocked if Venom as a boss fight was unlocked through doing side activities in this game. That would absolutely shock me. I feel like that's going to be a main mission, and they were just showing it as kind of like B-roll footage. But the Wraith one, I think that one makes sense. You complete a bunch of side things throughout the map, and then you unlock a battle with Yuri. I think that could absolutely happen, and others, and that's actually an important thing, right? So they say that you'll be battling some Marvel villains that we haven't seen yet in the universe. So that almost puts us away from Doc Ock, although it's possible still that maybe he's part of it. But Doc Ock, Black Cat, right? So nothing like... Now, I don't think you would do something to then face Black Cat, but just throwing out some examples. Maybe even any of the Sinister Six, so no Scorpion, no kind of repeat fight, say, of the first game. These are going to be characters that we haven't seen yet in the universe. Although, again, like when they're saying this, they show Wraith, they show Venom, so maybe it's a mix. Maybe they're saying something. Maybe they're lying, I guess, right, in either what they're showing or what they're saying. Next, I want to focus on just a really quick part. It's just a very quick frame, I guess, that they showed. They show Miles. They show the phone with the activities, but at the top, once you complete the mission, now this isn't necessarily new, but I just spotted what you get for completing these things. So it looks like you'll get 3 things. You'll get tokens depending on what it is that you're doing. You'll get tech parts, and there might be different variations of tech parts that we'll talk about later, and you'll also get XP. Later on, they show that this Spider-Man is like in the mid-20s of a level. I wonder if level 50 is the level cap for this game. They also show like the overall progress of the game being, I believe, like 26%. So the build that they're doing isn't all the way through, right? You can tell by even the completion of the certain things in the map. But those are some of the stuff that you'll get, I assume, by doing main missions, side missions, activities, etc. Another thing to quickly just throw in without dissecting it too much, a lot of finishing moves, a lot of new finishing moves, right? And we see them almost evenly. I mean, we see some, I think maybe a little bit more leaning towards Peter, a lot of ones using his arms or his robotic arms. You get that versus Miles, but you get a lot of different finishing moves that, triangle, circle, same time. That seems pretty darn cool. All right, next up is looking at that map. So again, some of these I feel like we can kind of gather better than others. So you see like the photograph one. Now they block out, and I think this is actually a clever kind of trick, right? So they show you the icons, but they don't show you the names of the icons because you imagine that probably gives something away, right? But you see like the photograph one, so taking pictures of like landmarks. Prowler, that doesn't have to be like the syncing of music. In fact, I actually hope that it isn't. The bottom one being drones, right? And you can tell the drones because there's only one per area, it looks like. The rest, I'm not sure of, although that pink one definitely kind of looks like the symbiote / Venom, and it just kind of sticks out to me. And like we said earlier, with completing some of these things, maybe it is possible that you complete the 35 pink icon things throughout the map, and then something with Venom happens. I kind of doubt it, but that is what it kind of looks like to me. The other ones I want you to sound off on. What do you think the crystal red one is at the top? Maybe that's the one connected to Wraith. But it looks like, by the way, because they go to an area that's smaller. So they start at a bigger place, Midtown, then they go to downtown Queens, and it looks like there's less things in it, right? So maybe what they showed is actually all of the side activities in this way that there is in the game. But also, to my next point, when I mentioned the drone, so you look at this downtown Queens one, so the drone one is filled. It's 1 out of 1. Now, you look at the top, though, where it says District Progress, and it's got like a bar, and you see it's got ×2 for that yellow icon one, and then that purple, housing one, that's the fast travel symbol, right? So that's unlocked for this one. So maybe it's you do so many things in the region and the bar progresses. So they did some things, you get the 2, I assume those are like tech points or some sort of tokens of some kind. And then the next one is the fast travel one. Again, maybe that's just by doing the drone, or maybe you literally have to do so much stuff in a specific area to unlock the fast travel. Next 2 things are kind of similar. It's looking at the specific tabs in the menu. So gadgets. So we get a little bit of gadgets. A few things to look at here. Number 1, again, the cost, right? So gadgets cost tech parts, and they also cost rare tech parts. Actually, I answered my own question. Rare tech parts is that yellow symbol that you saw. So I guess by completing certain things in a region of the map, right, you'll get rare tech parts that you'll need to then upgrade your gadgets. So that's actually answering my own question. But you see web shooters, upshot, web grabber, concussion burst, and ricochet web. Several tiers of each one. Looks pretty darn cool. And then the next part is the suit tech. They just kind of go right into that after it. And then the next one is suit tech. You got health, damage, focus, and traversal. And they actually have upgraded those quite a bit. And now again, these ones are different things. So you need tech parts again. So that's kind of the universe universal currency, but you also need hero tokens, and that's obviously, I think Miles got that as part of this gameplay by doing something, so I think just by completing random objectives or missions in this game, you'll get that. And then the final thing to talk about without going too far in depth is just all of the suits. I don't have too much to say on it other than, holy dear God. It seems like kind of like the dream game for Spider-Man fans of being able to play as any Spider-Man variation that you can think of. Obviously, Bully Maguire is in this game. People have already spotted. I actually spotted it live when they were showing this, so that's very cool. But just the amount of different variations, they say 65 plus suits. It's actually insane, all of the different ways that you'll be able to play. At least look at them, right? It's not going to massively change, although it could. They didn't really go into that in terms of, will each suit still provide its own unique thing? Maybe some will, maybe some won't, but regardless of that, you'll be able to look exactly how you want because there's so many variations. And there you go. Let me know what I missed. Let me know any additional things on what I already said in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.